Pamela Moses joins us on the Triple H Radio Experience. She's a candidate for the United States Senate. Thank you for joining us on the broadcast.
Thank you for having me.
For people who don't know you, let's get the Pamela Moses story.
Well, I am a native, born and bred Tennessean. I was born in Kingsport, Tennessee, which is Sullivan County. I grew up around Jackson, Tennessee, which is Madison County. And I graduated from college up there in Knox County from the University of Tennessee in Knoxville. I attended Knoxville College for one semester before they lost their accreditation. And so I am pretty much connected to the whole state because I've been a musician most of my adult life. So I know every city, county seat in the whole state, and I know most of the people in just about every city. And I've been in politics my whole life because my mother was the first elected city council to the newly formed city council in Madison County, as well as the school board. I held the Bible at her inauguration. I'm a mother of two sons, college graduate of UT, bachelor's in political science and African studies. And I also have a master's from Union University in Jackson, Tennessee, in intercultural studies with the concentration of international business. I believe in humanity, peace, love, and happiness. And I believe that this country needs change, and the change is not going to come from a political party. It's going to come from a person and other persons that are independent thinkers.
So let's go back to parts of your story as we get to your running for the United States Senate this time. I was at your website and I saw a piece from one of the Memphis TV stations talking about you going to jail. Let's unpack that.
Okay, well, I'm not sure which piece you're talking about, but I am a formerly incarcerated person, justice impacted. I was, the last time I went to jail was for basically, I don't know how to describe it. I wouldn't say that a crime was committed. If it was, the crime was against me. The district attorney here in not in Knox County, but in Shelby County, she attempted to strip me of not only my freedom, but she successfully stripped me of my citizenship, something that a lot of people would think could not happen. But the way the law was set up from the 2006 legislators, I think it was introduced by a Democrat. If a person was convicted of a felony, a certain type of felony, they lose their right to vote forever. And so when I was attempting to run for mayor, they arrested me for falsification of a document that I didn't sign. And that was what that was about. We're past that at this point. I decided to run for office after that happened because I spent, a significant amount of time in jail, with people. Some people deserve to be there, some didn't. And I realized that our system is broken. And the only way that I know that it can be changed is that I have to be a part of that change. So I decided to run for United States Senate because there's so much chaos in the state legislature. I don't think that by it being a totally red state that they'll ever come to terms with, forgiving people who have served their time and giving them an opportunity to re-enter into society. And so as a person who's formerly incarcerated, I realized that I needed to be the change that I wanted to see. I'm sorry.
But did they say you broke the law by running for office?
No, they said I broke the law when someone tried to allow me to get my rights back to vote. In order to run for state office, and understand, I'm running for U.S. Senate.
Right.
That's totally different from the last time I ran for city, municipality, mayor. when you're running for office, you have to be, if you have been convicted of a crime, you have to be fully restored, which means you have to go through to the courts, or you have to, at that time, you just had to file a piece of paper, which I did. And it was approved, or once it got approved, it was some issue with it. I'm not really sure. It's been a few years now, but the fact of the matter was I was going through the process that was in place by our current, at the time, legislators, and that process ended me up behind bars. Wow. That's how bad the process was. So I looked at it from an intelligent, viewpoint. How do I make sure that this never happens to anyone? I can't do anything at the local level because that's not where legislation is created. I can't do anything at the state level because they have it where you can't run for office if you've been convicted of a crime. But our former president, Donald Trump, who's also in the same predicament as me, he's been convicted of a crime. His crimes were just out of other states like New York. They're not as strict on allowing people to reintegrate into society. So how do I change this from Tennessee? I run for United States Senate, and I propose legislation that puts a universal, people talk about universal health care, universal wages and things like that. There needs to be universal restoration in this country. And I decided that when I'm elected to be Tennessee's first, not woman, but I say first Black indigenous senator, I can propose that legislation as an independent, and I can get it passed because there's so much conflict amongst Republicans and Democrats that real Americans are being left out of the conversation. And that's how I can be effective and change this state and move America to being great if it ever was again.
Pamela Moses is my guest. She's running for the United States Senate. More in a moment.